The Horvat deal is made. Does it surprise you, the Islanders, and what do you think of the return?
No, did not surprise me. The Islanders surprised me the timing. I didn't see. We mentioned on the pod this morning that there was a belief that the Islanders were in it and in it big. So I'm not surprised at that. I am surprised at the timing. I had no idea it was going to be today. I think it's a big relief to Horvat. I think that there definitely been an exhaustion there with the way everything had played out. And I think he's very happy that it's over a lot quicker than it could have been over. I'm interested in hearing Patrick Allvin later. Beauvillier, and to me, the key to this deal is, aside from the draft pick, obviously, which is protected top 12 this year, obviously the big key is Ratu. Like, Vancouver's looking for young players who are ready to play. Ratu is a guy who's ready to get an extended look at the NHL level, I think. He's a talented guy. If you remember his draft, he slid. And the Islanders were really credited with getting a quote-unquote steal, getting him where they got him. So I think he's the guy a lot of people are going to be curious about. As for Beauvillier, I'm curious to see what the plan is there for Vancouver. He's got one more year under contract and he's an unrestricted free agent. I'm curious to see if this is a trial run for the Canucks to see him for a year and a half and see what they like and what their plans are for him. But there's no question. Vancouver said they're looking for young players that they can put into their lineup, and the guy who really fits the description of that in this deal is Ratu. And I'm sorry, I was in the middle of dinner when this happened, so I'm like picking pasta out of my teeth.
You're good. You're always good for each pick prospect and a player. The player, Beauvillier, is 25 years old, for those wondering out there. The one part of this I wonder is, do the Islanders now have the inside track on Bo Horvat? And did teams looking to acquire Bo Horvat have the opportunity to talk to his agent, Pat Morris, before this deal was done? Like, was there the ability for the Canucks to kind of leverage maybe a long-term deal in this?
Well, let me answer all that separately. Number one, I would be surprised if the Islanders aren't going to extend him. I do. I just don't think Lou Lamoriello makes this trade without thinking that he can get an extension done. And don't forget, a couple of years now, did he have permission? We believe that the Canucks were not going to give permission. They had indicated they were not going to give permission. Did that change in the last 24 hours? I'm not sure.
Right.
But the bottom line is we're 5 weeks to trade deadline. Lamoriello has term. Don't forget, when he traded for Pajot a couple of years ago, he got an extension done, although I think in that case he had permission to do it. I don't profess to know what Lou Lamoriello was thinking, but if you look at his history, I would be shocked if he would have paid this price for a rental. I think he believes he's getting him extended, and the only question is when he's going to announce it. Maybe he won't announce it until July, but I got to think he's going to get it done.
What do you think that number is for Bo Horvat?
That's a great question. I think the market is 8 times 8, but I don't know. I don't think the Canucks ever got close to there. What number makes Horvat happy and what number makes the Islanders happy? I can't say for sure, but his market is 8 times 8.
Okay, so let me ask you one more, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, but if the Islanders go the other way and it falls into a top 12 pick, which is kind of, I mean, listen, they're slotted 13th if they were to finish the season right now exactly where they are, which probably won't happen. But what happens if it is in that top 12 spot? Does it just move back a year?
It slides to next year, yes.
Right. And is it still protected the next year?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
You know what, Tim? Just show some viz while I'll go and I'll check the message on my phone.
We'll throw some video up of Anthony Beauvillier, perhaps Bo Horvat, playing some hockey, and he shoots and he scores, and Elliotte Friedman lifts up the phone and moves it around and checks whether or not this would be protected beyond this year. Because I think that's where Vancouver Canucks fans are. They want the highest picks that they can possibly get. Top 12 protected. Did you get the information, Elliotte?
I'm under the impression, again, everything is flying fast right now. Yeah. But the first note I got was that it's unprotected next year.
Unprotected
if it's not taken this year.
Right. Understood. So does this kickstart something here, Elliotte, or is this Vancouver just getting some business done because everyone in the world knew that they kind of had to get this business done?
Well, I think it signals where everything's going here. I think they've established their core. It's going to be Pettersson. It's going to be Kuzmenko. It's going to be Hughes, barring like a major change there. I just did a radio hit in Vancouver. I should have mentioned Miller. I didn't. Barring a major change there, it's going to be Miller. And then after that, we'll see where it all falls. I mean, there's going to be they're going to have talks about Demko and what the market is for him. They're going to have talks about Myers and what the market is for him. And I'm a Myers fan. I do think there is interest there. I just think the question is, does it come before or after his bonus is paid this summer? And I think that, Luke Schenn, obviously another guy who I think there's quite a bit of interest in as a rental. And I think this starts it. The Canucks have picked who their core is more likely than not going to be, and now we're going to see what happens around them.
It's very hard to discuss the Vancouver reaction to this because this may be the toughest hockey market in the entire world. But the debate right now, Friedge, is you mentioned Miller's going to be one of their guys moving forward. A lot of fans are, if you had made this deal last year, you could have done it with Miller, and you could have gotten more for Horvat and Miller and or kept Bo Horvat. Is that hindsight 2020? Did Jim Rutherford and Patrick Allvin make a mistake here in the timing? Were they asked to give more time to this 32, 15-10 squad that finished out the year under Bruce Boudreau? Like, that's the part that's tough to swallow for Vancouver fans right now.
Oh, I understand that all. And look, I understand why Horvat would be upset at all of this. I mean, what did he ever do wrong? All he ever did was represent the Vancouver Canucks extremely well. He was their captain. He played hard. There's not a whiff of scandal attached to his name. I mean, I've got to think on some level he's upset about all of this. I'm probably glad it's over. The way I look at this is this, Tim. Last summer at the draft in Montreal, I remember I said they're going to get Horvat done and Miller will likely get traded. And a month and a half later, the exact opposite happened. They got Miller done out of nowhere, and eventually they traded Horvat. I think they tried to sign Horvat. I think Horvat felt that they were not giving him an offer that was close enough to his market value. I think he and his representatives felt that he was being lowballed, and he decided to bet on himself. And it's not quite Aaron Judge's 62 home runs, which might go down as the greatest contract season ever. But Horvat he's done his job. He's had an unbelievable contract year. And I just don't think the Canucks were going to go to what he was going to get. And Bo Horvat bet on himself. The Canucks weren't willing to make that bet. And that's why I think everything flipped. And, we'll see where this goes for years to come. But that Horvat's going to be motivated to show that they made a mistake.
All right, priorities here, and this is why this is the last question. Does Bo Horvat play for the Pacific at the All-Star game?
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Yes, he plays for the Pacific.
All right.
I would sound a little funny, though, to hear representing the Pacific Division from the New York Islanders.
Bo Horvat, yeah. I wondered if maybe he switches on. Do we do a trade here?
Yeah, what was it, with a patch on his jersey?
Yeah, the patch on the jersey. Does that become the Islanders? Yeah. Like, there might be some fun stuff to go through here.
What would be good is if, he does a double agent move, and in the game, in a tie game, he turns around and shoots on his own net and scores. So the Pacific. See you later, Connor and Leon. It sucks to be you.
If the Pacific plays the Atlantic, you better watch out, Connor. Leon, have an eye on that kid. Appreciate you doing this. No, this is breaking news. I hate to tear you away from the pasta, but I do appreciate you doing it.
Pasta too. My pleasure, Tim.
Very nice. There is Elliotte Friedman with some combed hair here on Tim. It's a big day.
Dapper.
When Elliotte Friedman combed his hair for our segment here on Tim and Friends.